regulations.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, I think we need to, in the future, you know, say for instance, human nature. We offshore to, say, an IT provider in India. So we go to India, they've got all of our privacy, all of our IT data, access to everything, and they make a pittance. They're open to and vulnerable to opportunistic corruption, and it provides, you know, you may be saving initially a small amount of money, but it could cost you big time into the future because, you know, someone's offered them $10,000.
Yeah.
You know, it's just quite simple. So I believe it should all be tied together. It should all be probably. So there's this difference between compliance and security. You know, although there is a compliance part to security, you'll find that most places have their silos of compliance and security. Whereas more, you know, in the GLT or global leadership team context I was talking about before, the person that I would go to was chief of compliance. So, who understood where we fitted into the bigger picture.
Yeah, like I said, we all need those friendly forces.
And luckily that person was quite a combative type person as well, so he wasn't a shirt.
You know, again, these are the people we need on our side. How do you describe your leadership style, and how has that evolved?
I remember some of the early management training or studies that I did about laissez-faire and stuff like that. And, you know, whatever I do, I'm there with them. You know, and I know at the moment where I am, I've got this group, that group, another group, and I'm confident that they can do their work. So that wasn't always that way. So I don't buy in to a lot of, you know, there's a regulatory compliance team, and I don't buy in over the top of them. I come in and I do my obligatory audits as per the regulations, and then I have an electronic. We have an electronic guy. He could tell me certain things I wouldn't know were true. So I have him. It's an operational management performance that I review on that. So you know what techs are like. I wouldn't know what the product was or whatever, and plus it's been an inherited position as well. So the platforms that they use have been here for a long time. They're au fait with it. But then on the other side of it, with regulations, and, you know, say for instance aviation security or maritime security or the ASIC, as in issuing body with you know the air security and identification card program. So those programs I'm involved with, but the people on a daily basis run their own race. So for reporting back to Home Affairs or someone like that, that's where I get involved with. I do all the meetings to make sure I'm across all the regulatory compliance changes, etc. Harmonisation, which is going on at the moment, and that's how it trickles down there. So management style, I'm pretty easy to get along with, but if I have to, what's the word?
Crack the whip.
Become a little bit more persuasive. I can do.
Which of the skills do you deploy
I do it
most?
in a nice way.
Yeah, which of the skills or those leadership do you employ the most?
I would suggest I'm someone who provides initially diplomacy, and then if I need to take it further, it will be based upon fact, and that fact will be in writing. So, you know, so it's not just me, and it's not just me being difficult. The obligations are set out by this is what we do it, this is how we do it, this is these are not just my obligations, but yours and the businesses as well. So it's a collective approach. We're all in the same business. We all need to be employed. And for instance, some of those people who work in that silo of electronic security, or that silo of ASIC issuing body, that they're focused and concentrate on that. I'm the one that sort of integrates it across the business. Yeah. But if they can't do their job, then it may be time to leave.
Yeah, yeah. And final part. So, not just your current role, but the other roles when you've worked for other organisations. How have you found the recruitment process? Has it been through networking? Has it been through applying for roles, driven by HR or driven by the hiring managers?
Well, I've got to say, the recruitment has been, I'm not sure, as I told you before, I'm 62. So when I went back into the workforce at 58, 59, I put in, what was it? I think it was around about 70 applications for jobs. Didn't get any call back for one. I believe there's a problem with older people trying to, regardless of the skill set you take. Yeah. So the positions I've got, the position I got when I first went back to work was through pre-existing knowledge that I was an expert in that field. But when I was working for that company, they were actually losing money. When I say losing money, it was being stolen from them. And I took that on to try and resolve that issue in foreign currency. Yeah. And I determined where the losses were occurring. And as a result, that company then offered me a job. And that's where I am now. So it wasn't that I applied for a job and put in a resume and, because it was at the age of, late 50s. No one's going to entertain me. Yeah. That's just my experience. Yeah. And in for instance, in both of these, it was firstly it was an established relationship with the company because I'd worked for them before as a consultant. Yeah. And then secondly, because I'd worked for that company, it then introduced me to a new company who either had no desire to find out what was going on, or who were being blindsided by people within the business and just wasn't being reported upwards. So the bold move I took was to contact the managing director of that business direct and tell him what was going on and the lack of satisfaction that we were getting because there were thieves. And I mean, we're talking about hundreds of individual incidents of thieving. And he was astounded by it, and as a result, 12 months later I got the job. They offered me the job, and when I got there I worked out who the thief was. So it was a bit of a happy end. Yeah. But yeah, look, recruitment, I've got friends who work in recruitment. Yeah. A niece and daughters of other friends, and to be honest with you, if they were looking to recruit someone within a highly paid security position, they wouldn't know what they were looking for. Yeah. And from what I understand, it's now done by screening, looking for buzzwords, and that's the way that the shedding is done for a start, to find out who said all the right things and who did not. And plus then there's that predisposition of people of a certain age that will fit the appropriate criteria. Yeah. So recruitment, it's difficult. A lot of it all comes through word of mouth. I appreciate that. I've benefited from it, but I've also been disappointed by it as well, because it can be a bit of a boys' club or a girls' club. Yeah,
without a shadow of doubt, there's a lot to be said about the different aspects, on the recruitment side, and the ATS, the core. I think that shredding and buzzword software has a lot to answer for. So from when you took on your role to where you are now, who developed the job description for your role when you started?
Well, I actually took over a role